2 years ago, a place in Thailand was named one of 37 UNESCO World Heritage Creative Culinary Cities, alongside spots like Parma, Italy, Mexico City, and Shunda, the cradle of Cantonese food. But it wasn't Bangkok or Chiang Mai. It was somewhere you've probably never heard of. This is the story of a town called Phetchaburi. If you've been to Thailand, there's a good chance you've driven right past it without even knowing it was there. And yet, this is a place that has a food culture unlike anywhere else. It's a living museum, somewhere with thousands of years of history and where farm to table is taken to an almost unbelievable extreme. But it's not just ignored. It's so forgotten that developers want the land to turn into golf courses and apartment towers. How is this possible? Why doesn't anybody know about this place? And can anything change that before this incredible culinary city gets swallowed up in the name of progress? All right, so this is our fourth road trip with Adam, and we had so much fun on the last one when we got lost and ended up on the Myanmar border that we decided that we would throw away my plans that I'd worked on for where we were going with this road trip and change our direction. So instead of going to Chanthaburi to the west, we're driving southeast, and the direction is Phetchaburi, and that's about as much as I know. I guess it's fitting that when we're telling a story about a place that doesn't get enough recognition, we ourselves didn't even mean to go here. We were supposed to go somewhere else, but because we were short on time, we pinned to Phetchaburi. Now, Phetchaburi is only an hour and 45 minutes away from Bangkok, just off the highway heading southwest towards the resort getaway town of Hua Hin. And yet, even though it's in our own backyard, it's a city that none of us knew anything about. I had so many notes that I'd prepared about the culture and the history and the people of Chanthaburi, which was the city that we planned to go to today. So yeah, this is where I was getting ready to say, oh yeah, it's a mixture of X, Y, and Z. I don't know. I mean, like, if you look at the food that we are expecting to find, the Khao Chae, am I right, Jasper?
Yeah.
Chae?
It's like halfway to saying
Adam,
chair.
can you say it?
I mean, I'm not really good in pronunciation, but too.
Chair. Khao Chae.
Chair.
The Khao Chae. Chae?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I don't know what I just did. We've been in Phetchaburi for 1 minute. Whenever we start these road trips, there's an urgency to have the first bite of food because we're just hungry.
Yes.
You know, and we've been on the road and we're ready to get started and we're late and I'm stressed and we've got to film. And now everything's okay because we have the first bite of food and look where we are. Look at this alley.
Man,
We were right.
see that busy place.
We are already, we've been out of the car for 1 minute. We are most definitely not in Bangkok. Please forgive me if I butcher the pronunciation, but this is called Khao Chae. And we didn't have to look hard to find the dish most associated with Phetchaburi. This vendor was right in front of us when we parked our car at the market downtown. It's a fascinating dish and something I'd only ever tried once. It's rice, par-cooked and then soaked in water flavored with jasmine flowers and a sequence of scented candles. It's served chilled in the aromatic water with a side dish of pretty much anything. Here, a sticky curry made from dried fish, fried balls of shrimp paste and spices, and candied dried turnip. Have a bite of one, then a bite of the other. It's a Mon dish, a specialty of the first inhabitants of this part of Southeast Asia. Today, it's mostly found in celebrations for the New Year here in Thailand and across the border in Myanmar. But it's also known as one of the endemic dishes of this one town. This is a dish that's hard to find anywhere else because it takes forever to make. And very few vendors want to spend all night preparing something that sells for 60 cents a serving. And yet, somehow, in our first few minutes in Phetchaburi, we could see why it's still common here. Here, time didn't feel like a luxury. It felt like a resource in abundance. It's a pretty safe assumption that when you don't know where you are and you don't know where you're going, you should start at the local market. Here in Phetchaburi, the market occupies a few blocks along the river right in the center of town. The market itself dates back to the dawn of the 1900s, but even before that, this spot along the river was a center of commerce, a place where food and produce was sold first from vendors on boats, and eventually inside this wooden structure. It's a place where even as the surrounding country has grown and developed, old traditions still thrive, and the food here, I mean, it's a pretty safe bet that if someone from 100 years ago parachuted in today, they'd probably find a familiar meal.
Like now, when I'm seeing children, I have this is a great market. All day, full all day, because we have a transport by the boat. The boat from here starts from here to back to the Balam, they call Balam. And they deliver the fresh food, fresh
fresh vegetable, fresh everything.
Yeah, and very crowded. All day market have a business, good business. And when the road, they have a road and they use the car. Many cars now, they stop to run the boat. And
it changed this market.
Change the market.
This is Ang, and along with her husband, she owns a small bed and breakfast just across the river. 2 years ago, when COVID led to some vacancies in the market where Ang used to spend her days as a child almost 50 years ago, she decided to rent the corner stall to sell cups of coffee in the hopes that one day, a new wave of people might enjoy the quiet and comfort of the river, much like she has her entire life.
Because I have a guest house, I have many guests from another country, and when they came here, I will always invite. Want to ask him why you come to Phetchaburi. They said they only want to place like not far from Bangkok and stay somewhere can go to south. Mm-hmm. But when they come here, they're so impression here.
It's a very peaceful lifestyle, I guess.
And, and slow life, and the food is fresh fruit, not expensive, and not far from Bangkok, and the people nice, I think.
The town of Phetchaburi has a population of about 25,000, which is just a fraction of a percent of that of Bangkok's more than 14 million, clustered about 160 kilometers to the northeast. But there actually was a time when this city was the larger of the two, although that was a very, very long time ago. The first recorded history of a settlement here was as far back as the 8th century AD, at a time when the Vikings were conquering the far north and the Byzantine Empire was expanding under Constantine V. It's quite possible that this land was settled right here along the riverbank even earlier, as starting as long as 5,000 years ago, the Mon ethnic group followed the riverlands from China into Southeast Asia, and eventually those waters brought them here. Over time, as Phetchaburi expanded, the Mon were joined by a mix of ethnic groups that together created a place unlike anywhere else. The town became a melting pot with Muslims from the Malay Peninsula, Chinese traders, Burmese migrants from just across the border only 50 miles away, and even a still intact population of a people called the Song Dam, or Lao Song, ethnic Lao from the region between Luang Prabang and Hanoi in northern Vietnam. Phetchaburi would become a place of importance to the modern Thai dynasty, for whom the waters of this local river possessed some magic characteristic, and to this day, that water is used in royal coronation ceremonies. Maybe the reason the monarchy placed such importance on this city was the local food, as Khao Chae became a favorite of King Rama II more than 200 years ago, and it's said that Rama V loved this dish so much that he commissioned insulated cargo ships to bring ice from factories in Singapore at the start of the 1900s. Anyway, between the ethnic Mon, the Songdam, the Burmese, Malays, Chinese, and members of the royal court, this small town of 25,000 became a culinary melting pot, where even familiar dishes become something truly incredible. All right, let's try that first bite of this. This pineapple is the
Yeah, you
core
got a
component of
pineapple, you
this.
got a peanuts, you got coconut
Star
milk.
fruit, which I didn't expect. Is garlic.
Man, it tastes like amazing. Sweet.
How is it? Yeah?
You can understand why there was a line down the street to get in here. I was stressed. I'm like, Jasper, we'll film later. We've got to get this before it sells out. The star fruit is
amazing,
that
man.
little pop of sourness and acidity. This is one of the best things I've eaten in Thailand. Maybe the reason the market was quiet was because all the people were here, a few blocks away, waiting in line for what might be one of the best plates of noodles anywhere. It's sweet with the coconut, ground peanut, but then there's fish sauce, there's garlic, dried crushed shrimp, and then the pop of the pineapple and the star fruit is just amazing. This dish is Khanom Jeen Sao Nam, something we showcased in our Khanom Jeen video, but that wasn't anything like this. Here, the stars of the show are the fresh fruits harvested along the fertile banks of the nearby river. And we know that because there's an ordinance in place that says all ingredients sold in this town must come from within Phetchaburi province. Now, I have no idea how viable that might actually be, and it might just be a local legend, but the fact that it's even said to be true is just absolutely crazy. And when you think of Phetchaburi in that context, a place where literally everything is local, it makes this town feel not just like another era, but almost like another planet. But there's reason to believe that might somehow be true. Khanom Jeen, those Mon noodles we've already found twice here, are almost always made with fermented rice because that's the only way for them to last long enough to send to market then ship out to restaurants. But when everything has to be local, well, there's no need for fermentation. This factory, just 2 blocks from the market, makes fresh Khanom Jeen, selling 3 metric tons or almost 7,000 pounds of their noodles every single day.
ความเป็นขนมจีนนี่เป็นอาหารท้องถิ่นของภาคใต้ครับของภาคใต้แต่ภาคอื่นก็มีแต่น้อยกว่าส่วนมากที่กินกันเยอะคือทางภาคใต้ในเพชรบุรีเนี่ยจะกินขนมจีนกับทอดมันเป็นส่วนใหญ่แต่ทางภาคใต้จังหวัดอื่นเนี่ยจะกินกับน้ำยาเรียกว่าน้ำยาขนมจีนน้ำพริกแล้วก็ผักเน้นผักครับ วิธีที่จะทำให้อร่อยที่สุดแต่ละเจ้าไม่เหมือนกันครับขึ้นอยู่กับสูตรของแป้งสูตรของการผลิตแป้งออกมาว่าแป้งนั้นใช้ข้าวสารแบบไหนสัดส่วนผสมต่อน้ำต่อเกลือเท่าไหร่อร่อยหรือไม่อร่อยขึ้นอยู่กับแป้งครับอยู่ที่ความอร่อยครับอยู่ที่ความอร่อยของเราเส้นจะเหนียวและนุ่มแล้วก็เส้นสดตำวันต่อวัน
The highway from Bangkok to the southern beaches was completed in 1950 as part of Thailand's post-World War II explosion of World Bank-financed infrastructure. Back then, it wasn't meant as a tourist road so much as a way to connect the country and bring opportunity to rural villages. But since the 1970s, as the outside world discovered Thailand, the coastal towns with the famous beaches exploded, and 2 in particular became day trip or weekend getaways from the booming city of Bangkok. To the southeast, Pattaya became known for parties and debauchery. And to the southwest, Hua Hin was the alternative, a family-friendly resort town known for golf courses and upscale villas. The thing is, though, those 2 places are so close to Bangkok that there really wasn't much need for anyone to stop along the highway in between. Like, you don't need to stop when it's only a 2.5-hour drive to where you're going. So in a backwards kind of way, the fact that Phetchaburi is so close to Bangkok
might actually be the reason it stayed so hidden. But in our short time in town, we could sense from the people here both a deep pride in their unique culture and beautiful city, as well as a tangible frustration that their place is ignored by the tens of thousands of cars passing by every day. It must be a pretty helpless feeling to see Thailand become famous all over the world for food and history, all the while knowing their part of it somehow got missed.
By the river on a hot day, and this with the ice and the refreshing sort of flavor, and you've got that little pop of sort of acidity and citrus and brightness and a little bit of chili heat. And then here we just have this floral, fragrant rice in ice cold jasmine water. And yeah, that's like just as comforting as having like a glass of cider sitting by the swimming pool, right? Like I can understand how for hundreds and hundreds of years this is what's kept people refreshed here. It's such a cool little town, and we're really happy to have come here. If I have one thing that stuck out to me from my first few meals here, it's that this is not a regional specialty. This is the flavor of Phetchaburi, and what a cool little town.
พิเศษตรงที่ว่าเนื้อปลาเราจะแห้งเนื้อปลาเราจะแห้งน้ำเราจะเน้นความหอมข้าวแช่เนี่ยคือที่ส่วนน้ำจะหอมเนี่ยข้าวแช่มี2อย่างคือน้ำกับพระเอกและก็ปลาข้าวแช่มีแค่นี้ถ้าปลาอร่อยน้ำหอมถือว่าโอเคผ่านเพราะอย่างอื่นรสชาติจะเหมือนกันสวัสดีครับทุกท่านถ้าได้รับชมอันนี้แล้วนะครับอย่าลืมนะครับมาเมืองเพชรอย่าลืมร้านข้าวแช่เมนิตภัณฑ์ดำวิวดีสวยครับติดแม่น้ำพ่อค้าหล่อข้าวแช่สุดยอดเรียนเชิญนะครับร้านข้าวแช่เมนิตภัณฑ์ดำครับผม
When UNESCO announced in 2004 that it was launching a new program honoring cities for unique contributions to culture in 7 creative fields, the leadership of Phetchaburi started a full-court press for culinary recognition. In every criteria indicated by UNESCO, from a vibrant and historic food culture to an emphasis on sustainable local agriculture to preservation of ancient techniques, Phetchaburi fit the bill. And this, after generations in obscurity, would be, they hoped, a chance to finally gain some well-earned recognition. It took 17 years of fighting for attention, but finally in 2021, the town received word that it would become the 37th city on Earth to receive this illustrious honor. This became a massive point of pride. Finally, somebody noticed what an amazing place the locals already knew that they had. But pride was pretty much all the town would receive, as 2021 was right in the middle of COVID and there weren't really any travelers, and by the time the world began to open up again, the headlines had faded and Phetchaburi's chance for a turn in the spotlight had come and gone. It's crazy that a place with the charm of Chiang Mai or Hoi An, the peaceful pace of Kampot, and the food culture of, pretty much anywhere, a place that's shouting distance from Bangkok just couldn't catch a break. This doesn't feel like a hidden gem. It feels like a travesty. But according to the people we met in town, it wasn't a total loss. There was one local dish in particular that UNESCO identified as the soul of Phetchaburi, and it wasn't Khao Chae or Khanom Jeen. It's a curry, talked about in reverential terms here, and something I've never tried or honestly even heard of before. It's made from the Toddy Palm, a palm tree endemic to India and this peninsula. And that one dish, at least in local Thai media, has sparked an interest in the province among domestic tourists. Although, in a place where everything is farm to table, finding this curry took some work and more than a little bit of adventure. Because just like finding the famous Khanom Jeen meant finding the nearby Khanom Jeen factory, encountering the endemic palm curry meant driving deep into the jungle to a palm plantation, pinned for us on the map by Ong at the coffee shop and a passerby on the road by the river. And here, where we thought we'd find a peaceful trip into nature, what we actually found at the end of a one-lane mountain road was an amusement park, except instead of rides and attractions, it's palm trees. Thailand can be a strange place sometimes.
I love tourist attractions that are not in the West.
Okay.
Because you can see just this like big touristy place where anybody can come in and buy some treats. And right here, sitting out on the table is a axe. Like, it's just, okay, it's, you don't see that at Disney World, let's say.
Yeah, perfect. I got this idea. So the fresh juice has to be coming down from the.
I bought one of these. I mean, we've been watching everybody using these all day. I just sorry, just grab one.
Good, man.
Yeah, I mean, oh, you were saying though, sorry.
Yeah.
It's not an axe, but you know, it's.
So every time when farmer get the palm juice from the tree, they has to be put in the bottle and need to be steamed for a while to destroy the bacteria and make this to stay more than a couple of days or 3 days, because if you put the fresh palm juice in the bottle, it will be destroyed in a couple of hours. So this is the process, getting more flavor in the palm juice and make the taste stable for like a more 4 to 5 days. You can keep that in the straws in the fridge or outside. It's really staying fresh. That is perfect.
It turns out that it's not just the curry that put Phetchaburi on the map. It's everything that comes from the native palm trees, as this is said to be where you'll find Thailand's best palm sugar and all the byproducts that come from that process. But as much fun as this might be for a lot of people, there's a limit to my personal enjoyment of an amusement park of nothing but one fairly common plant. We'd come here on a mission, and that would mean driving just a little further down this mountain road to a family-run restaurant, a place known for using these palm trees to make the special curry said to be the signature dish of Phetchaburi.
สวัสดีครับ
Thank you.
วันนี้นะครับเราอยู่กันที่ครัวตาลตะโนดนะครับร้านอาหารของเรานะครับก็เป็นอาหารพื้นบ้านของจังหวัดเพชรบุรีใครที่มีโอกาสได้เดินทางผ่านจังหวัดเพชรบุรีเพื่อจะไปเที่ยวหัวหินหรือกลับกรุงเทพก็สามารถแวะมาทานที่ร้านของเราได้นะครับอาหารแนะนำของที่ร้านเรานะครับก็จะมีเป็นแกงหัวตาลทำจากยอดส่วนหัวของลูกตาลอ่อนๆนะครับแล้วก็ลูกอ่อนของตาลแกงรวมกับหมูย่างนะครับรสชาติก็จะออกหวานมันเข้มข้นนะครับเมนูที่2นะครับก็จะเป็นทอดมันมะละกอทอดมันมะละกอเราก็ใช้มะละกอนะครับคลุกเคล้ากับเครื่องแกงผสมแล้วก็นำไปทอดกรอบนะครับทานคู่กับน้ำจิ้มเมนูที่3นะครับอันนี้จะเป็นแกงหลอกซึ่งเป็นอาหารพื้นบ้านของจังหวัดเพชรบุรีไม่สามารถหาทานที่อื่นได้นะครับโดยเราจะใช้เนื้อหมูไปคลุกผสมกับหน่อไม้ดองแล้วนำมาต้มกะทิแล้วใส่ฟักทองและใบมะกรูดนะครับรสชาติก็จะออกเปรี้ยวเค็มหวานมันนะครับเมนูต่อไปก็จะเป็นยำหัวปลียำหัวปลีเราก็ใช้หัวปลีของกล้วยน้ำว้านะครับนำมาคลุกเคล้ากับน้ำพริกเผาก็จะให้รสชาติหวานมันเค็มทานคู่กับอาหารทะเลและไข่ต้มนะครับในเมนูต่อไปนะครับจะเป็นทอดมันปลาเราจะใช้ปลาอินทรีนะครับมาตีเป็นทอดมันแล้วก็นำมาทอดนะครับและเมนูสุดท้ายอันนี้นะครับจะเป็นน้ำพริกกะปินะครับทานคู่กับผักสดและของทอดนะครับผมเขาจะใช้ต้นปาล์มเนี่ยจะออกลูกก็ต่อเมื่ออายุ10 ปีถึงจะสามารถเก็บผลผลิตได้เมื่อเก็บผลผลิตมาแล้วถ้าลูกอ่อนมากเราจะสามารถทานเป็นเอามาทำเป็นแกงหัวตาลก็คือส่วนหัวเขาจะเรียกเป็นตาลเด็กนะครับถ้าหนุ่มเป็นแก่ขึ้นมาอีกนิดนึงเขาจะเรียกตาลหนุ่มเขาก็จะทานเป็นผลอ่อนอยู่ตรงผลอ่อนครับผมแล้วผลอ่อนก็สามารถนำไปทำเป็นขนมหวานก็คือลูกตาลลอยแก้วส่วนพอเริ่มแก่ขึ้นมาอีกนิดนึงจะเป็นตาลแก่ ที่เราเก็บไม่ทันจากต้นมันจะร่วงหล่นลงมาจากต้น อันนั้นเป็นตาลแก่เราจะนำตาลแก่นะครับมายีผ่านวิธีการยีเป็นเนื้อตาลสีเหลืองแล้วนำมาทำขนมตาล
Tell him I would love to keep talking to him, but I really want to eat. It's like a creamy coconut, very fishy, little bit of heat. I haven't tried the palm itself yet, which is what what makes this so special. I mean, it's amazing. It's rich, creamy. Flavor-wise, it's really not that different from a green curry. It's got that kind of thin, but still very, completely full-flavored sort of taste. It looks like they use the same in this. There's more palm along with the pumpkin in this one. These two curries are things that I am completely unfamiliar with. I've never...
Yeah, there's only, you can have that only here. There's nowhere else you can get this.
So we get lucky if on every time we travel anywhere, whether it's for one of our road trips, whether it's for an actual holiday that we take, you get lucky. If once in every city you have that fully transcendent meal, the meal that's just why we travel. We go places for that rare meal where you just have a table covered in stuff that you don't necessarily, recognize, flavors that you've never had before, everything fresh. I mean, you look, there's a garden. That's the garden. That's, we're in the middle of a palm plantation. These two curries are made with palm. I mean, this is why we do this. This is the kind of meal that is exactly why we not just do the channel, it's why we eat, it's why we travel, it's why we, let's see what this is all about.
Get the fried things.
The weather is fantastic today. We've been looking around the town. We've been going through the palm garden. And we are now in middle of nature. You see that views just behind us. You got a lemon garden down there. You got a fresh weather here with amazing food that we ever experienced. Fantastic with all of these, right? You guys have a really, really good day.
Maybe the best part of all of this was that even after such an epic road trip, we'd almost forgotten we were less than 2 hours away from home. Less than 2 hours between downtown Bangkok and a place that felt like a completely different world, and somewhere that might be close enough to go for lunch and back, but just begging to be explored and given the time to dive in deeper. Or at least to get a room by the river and slow down and watch 1,000 years of history unfold into one of the best places anywhere. How is this not at the top of everyone's list? How have I lived so close for a year and a half and never even thought about coming here?
I want to invite everyone can come to Phetchaburi to visit the Phetchaburi people. Really nice and welcome everyone come to see me and everyone in Phetchaburi.
ก็ยินดีต้อนรับทุกท่านนะครับที่จะเข้ามาชมแล้วก็เข้ามาชิมขนมจีนของทางร้านยินดีเป็นอย่างยิ่งครับครับอร่อยครับ
I think if the Bangkok people should come to live here because the life here very peaceful, calm, and a lot of restaurant that is not reasonable price and not expensive.
And really good food too.
Very, very good food everywhere.
อย่าลืมนะครับมาเมืองเพชรอย่าลืมร้านข้าวแช่เมนิสะพานดำวิวดีสวยครับติดแม่น้ำพ่อค้าหล่อข้าวแช่สุดยอดเรียนเชิญนะครับร้านข้าวแช่เมนิสะพานดำครับผม
All
So we stopped here. It's about halfway back to Bangkok, a little bit less. This is the mouth of the Mae Khlong River. You know, we're so close to Bangkok. We're only an hour and a half from Bangkok driving now with traffic. I actually truthfully expected Phetchaburi to kind of feel like Bangkok extended. You know, it's in between Bangkok and Hua Hin. It's just going to be more of Bangkok sprawl. I strongly would recommend anybody watching this, if you're within range, to go. I mean, my goodness, like we were talking about when we were having a walk around downtown. You know, we were talking about, like, you know, we were you know, treated with so much love and kindness for us taking the time to go to their town. But yeah, it had a very Chiang Mai kind of feeling, except everyone goes to Chiang Mai, nobody goes to Phetchaburi, and it's really worth being mentioned among, I think, Thailand's best travel cities, at least for a night, you know, 2 nights, right? Like.
As property values between Bangkok and Hua Hin skyrocket and developers buy up parcels of land, it might be more than a cool adventure to come to Phetchaburi. It might mean the difference between this town surviving or one of the most unique and well-preserved cultures anywhere slowly turning into the urban sprawl that we expected to find. But the good thing is, that hasn't happened yet. And whatever it takes to keep this place intact, at least we can confidently say that even if the world might not know what it has here, the local people certainly do. And that, along with the UNESCO-honored local cuisine, can at least give us hope in the future for a place with such an incredible past. Subscribe to the channel for more from OTR. Thank you so much to everyone who supports us on Patreon. We depend on your help to keep going and getting the chance to show you places like this. Check the links below for our Patreon and social media, and we'll see you next week.